Every time my driver took me to work, he brought his girlfriend along. Since it was on the way, I never said anything about it. Until one day, I opened the car door and found a note stuck to my seat in the back. Freeloaders not allowed in this car. I peeled the note off and turned to the driver. What is this? His girlfriend was sitting in the passenger seat. She didn't even let him answer. She turned around in the seat, looked me dead in the eye, and said it herself. My boyfriend is not your personal taxi service. If you can't afford your own ride, that's not our problem. Call an Uber like a normal person. She said it calmly, the way people do when they've been wanting to say something for a long time and have finally decided they're done waiting. I looked at him. He was gripping the steering wheel with both hands, staring straight through the windshield, jaw tight. He didn't correct her, didn't say a word. So I folded the note in half, put it in my coat pocket, and sat down. Quiet. That was the part she didn't understand. My quiet. She read it as embarrassment, as someone who got caught taking something they weren't supposed to have and didn't know how to respond. She had no way of knowing that I was quiet because I was thinking, and that when I get quiet and start thinking, the outcome is rarely good for the other person. Here is what she didn't know. The car was not his. The car is a company vehicle, registered to the firm, maintained by the firm, fueled on the firm's account. He drives it because driving it is his job. He has been my driver for 4 months, hired at my direct request as a favor to his uncle, who worked for my company for 11 years and never once gave me a reason to question his character. When his uncle retired, he asked me quietly, hat in his hands, clearly uncomfortable, asking whether I had anything for his nephew. I said yes. I shouldn't have needed to think about it twice. The girlfriend, however, had apparently been given a different version of events. As best as I could piece it together over those 4 months, he had let her believe that the car was his, that the company was his, that the corner office we pulled up to every morning belonged to him. She had been riding in my car for 6 weeks by that point. I had seen her in the passenger seat every single morning, always dressed like she was headed somewhere that mattered, always looking at me in the rearview mirror like she was trying to figure out what my angle was. I had assumed it was jealousy. A young woman who didn't like her boyfriend spending 40 minutes alone with another woman every morning. I had given her the benefit of the doubt. I had given him the benefit of the doubt. I did not make it a problem. The note made it a problem. We pulled up to the building. She turned around one last time, looked at the entrance, then looked back at me with something that was almost pity. Must be nice, she said, getting chauffeured around every day for free. I looked at her. I smiled. I said nothing. I got out of the car, walked through the front doors, and took the elevator up to my floor. I called HR before I had even taken my coat off. By 9:15, the termination paperwork was drafted. I reviewed it, signed where I needed to sign, and sent it back. Then I sat down, answered 11 emails, took a call with our legal team about a separate matter, and ate half a sandwich at my desk. 40 minutes later, my assistant knocked on the open door and told me he was in the lobby asking to come up. She said he seemed distressed. I told her to send him in. He looked like a man who had spent the elevator ride rehearsing something and then forgotten all of it the moment the doors opened. He stood in front of my desk with his hands at his sides, and for a long moment he didn't say anything. Then he said he had no idea she had left that note. He said she must have done it before he picked me up, that he would never have allowed it, that he was sorry and it would not happen again. I let him finish. Then I slid the termination letter across the desk. He stared at it. He picked it up. He read it twice, which I know because I watched his eyes track the lines and then track them again. The color left his face in a way that made him look much younger than he was. I can explain, he said. I had been patient for 4 months. I had said nothing when she started appearing in that seat. Nothing when she would glance back at me with that look. Nothing when the rides started running a few minutes longer than they should, taking slightly different routes. I had extended him every courtesy his uncle's reputation had earned, and I had done it without making it a condition or a reminder. I had simply been decent because that was what the situation called for. You had 4 months, I said, to tell her who I was. He opened his mouth, closed it. The letter was still in his hand. The car stays, I said. HR will walk you out. He left without saying anything else. I turned back to my desk and finished the sandwich.